Dr. Kohli, perhaps damage control is what we're seeing right now, but thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast. Always a pleasure talking to you. Now, moving on, viewers, a 19-year-old NEET aspirant died by suicide in Tamil Nadu's Coimbatore district, triggering fresh protests against the National Eligibility-cum-Entrance Test, which is NEET, and reigniting the state's long-standing demand for exemption from the medical entrance examination. Police identified the student as Anunkeerthana, who had already appeared for NEET twice and was preparing to take the exam again. Investigators said she was distressed over having to reappear for the test following the recent NEET question paper leak, which led to a retest for affected candidates. Police said no suicide note was recovered from the scene. An investigation is underway to determine the circumstances leading to her death. Belly Thomas is joining me with the latest updates. Belly, another unfortunate incident there, the kind of pressure that is being exerted on the students. What more can you tell us?
Absolutely, Vaishali. So this is another case of suicide in connection with the NEET question paper leak. This is a 19-year-old NEET aspirant who has died by suicide in Tamil Nadu's Coimbatore district. That has triggered fresh protests against this NEET exams as such, and it has also reignited the state's long-standing demand for the exemption from the medical entrance examination. So the Coimbatore district police have identified the student as Anunkeerthana, who had already appeared for NEET twice and was preparing to take the examination again. And investigators said that she was distressed over having to reappear for the test following the recent NEET question paper leak, which would have probably led to her taking the extreme decision, is what police had pointed out as of now. So senior police officer has stated that the frustration of yet another exam seems to have driven her to take this extreme step. And the police, however, had not recovered any suicide notes from the scene. An investigation is underway to determine the circumstances leading to her death. And this incident has sparked protests in Coimbatore, with demonstrators demanding that the NEET be scrapped. And the ruling DMK also has announced a statewide protest, reiterating its demand for a NEET exemption for the state of Tamil Nadu. And Tamil Nadu has consistently opposed NEET since its introduction, arguing that the examination disproportionately benefits students from affluent backgrounds who can afford expensive private coaching. The state government has maintained that the test places students from poor and rural families at a disadvantage despite strong performance in the Class 12 board examination. So for nearly a decade before NEET was introduced, Tamil Nadu admitted medical students solely on the basis of Class 12 marks without any entrance examination. Supporters of the earlier system argued it improved access to medical education for students from government schools and rural areas. And the Tamil Nadu Assembly had even passed a bill seeking exemption from NEET, but it did not receive presidential assent, leaving the national entrance examination in force in the state. And so this latest tragedy has once again brought the emotional toll of the highly competitive examination into focus. And according to activists and political parties opposing NEET, more than 20 aspirants in Tamil Nadu have died by suicide since the examination was introduced. Vaishali.
All right, Brian, stay on with me. The incident, viewers, has sparked protests in Coimbatore, with demonstrators demanding that NEET be scrapped. The ruling DMK has also announced a statewide protest reiterating its demand for a NEET exemption for Tamil Nadu. Back to you, Belly, on this development. What can you tell us?
Vaishali, this latest tragedy has once again brought this emotional toll of this highly competitive examination into focus in the state of Tamil Nadu. And the activists and even political parties opposing NEET, more than 20 aspirants in Tamil Nadu alone have died by suicide since this examination was introduced. So the DMK has planned for a statewide protest they have announced a statewide protest reiterating its demand for the NEET exemption for the state, and they also stated that the state has consistently opposed NEET since its introduction, arguing that the examination disproportionately benefits students from affluent backgrounds who can afford expensive private coaching, and the state government has maintained that the test places students from poor and rural families at a disadvantage, and despite strong performance in the class 12 board examinations. So for nearly a decade before NEET was introduced, Tamil Nadu admitted medical students solely on the basis of the class 12 marks without any entrance examinations, and supporters of the earlier system argue it improved access to the medical education for students from government schools and rural areas, Vaishali.
All right, Belly, thanks for joining me. Now, in a major update on the NEET UG re-examination process, the National Testing Agency has introduced a revised option for candidates regarding admit card download and refund details. According to the latest change, viewers, students can now download their admit cards without mandatorily submitting bank details for refund, with the option to provide those details at a later stage. The move comes after widespread backlash over the earlier portal design, where admit card download and refund options were linked, causing confusion due to technical glitches and poor navigation. The agency had previously announced a second chance for candidates who missed the refund option, but has now simplified the process to ensure greater flexibility for students. According to official data, more than 16 lakh students have already downloaded their admit cards for the June 21st re-examination, while around 22 lakh candidates are expected to appear. The National Testing Agency had earlier promised refunds following the cancellation of the May 3rd exam due to a paper leak incident. The new move is being seen as an attempt to streamline the process and address student concerns ahead of the upcoming examination. Joining me with more details is Atul Ranjan. Atul, what can you tell us?
Well, NTA's move comes after strong and sustained backlash from students on social media over pairing the application download link as well as the bank refund details together. That is where the students were flagging this right since the beginning, but now maybe slightly too late, given the fact that 16 lakh students have already downloaded their admit card, and only about 5 to 6 lakhs as students are more expected to download that admit card. Now the NTA has introduced a major change which could have been introduced earlier. Now what the NTA has essentially done is students can download their admit card now, while they can come back to the portal again post-examination and fill the details or maybe confirm the existing bank details that they have already submitted for a refund. Now that is something which was a sticking point, because that was troubling students because of all the sort of technical glitches that the students were encountering on the portal. When students, what we got to hear from students was that the portal, the navigation experience on the portal was so unclear that it forced several students to agree to not give details or not confirm bank details for refund and proceed to downloading the admit card, which essentially means forfeiting their bank, forfeiting their amount, the application amount that they had submitted earlier, which they were entitled to, get a refund for. Now, previously, hearing on these complaints, NTA did make an announcement that students who have missed out on submitting their bank details or confirming their bank details would be given an opportunity later. But now there's more clarity on it because the NTA has introduced that changes. That changes is also reflecting on the NTA NEET's portal, where students can clearly opt for confirming their bank details today, or today as in when they're downloading the admit card, or later after the examination when they are more relaxed, because right now students are deeply anguished, they are deeply distressed about writing a re-examination. We see several cases coming across the country where students are committing suicide. In that scenario, in that context, this is a major move by NTA to give more easy navigational experience for students on their website. But maybe a question that would be asked is this a too late move? Because majority of the students have already downloaded the admit card.
All right, Atul, thanks for joining me. Now, Delhi police has busted an interstate child trafficking syndicate.